could we potentially be getting CARCHARDON models? This is all coming from a video I put out the other day. It was from the brand new Maelstrom book, the lore inside of it. It was all around a message sent by a certain Inquisitor, and you chaps have said something to me which I didn't pick up on at the time. This could involve the Space Sharks and even more chapters that were involved in the Badab War. So let's jump in, let's look at this, let's talk about this, let's theorize about this, because we could be getting potentially something amazing for the Space Marines. So for those people wondering what the hell's going on, yesterday's video was all about this brand new message that was sent by the Ordo Astartes. If you don't want to be spoiled about this, then please leave the video now, by the way, because this is the first and only warning. I'm going to briefly show some of the message off, which could link to the Space Sharks, aka to the CARCHARDONS. But the brief summary is, during the Badab War, there were some chapters that sided with Huron. When Huron went full heretic, these chapters went, whoa, 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 whoa. That's nothing to do with us. We're sorry for siding with him, and they were sent on a pennant crusade. Those chapters were the Executioners, the Lamenters, and the Mantis Warriors. They were sent, if I'm not mistaken, on a 100-year pennant crusade, and during those 100 years, they weren't allowed to recruit anyone to the chapter, which was kind of devastating because during the Badab War, they lost a lot of their Marines. Some were like under 100 Marines. So to go 100 years without recruiting would surely mean the death of those chapters. Now, since Guilliman has come back, Guilliman has contacted those chapters, the Executioners, the Mantis Warriors, and the Lamenters, and said, no, you are no longer on this pennant crusade. I have overruled that now. Here's the Primaris gene seed. Restock, regather your forces, go into the Maelstrom, find Huron, and bring him to justice. The Ordo Astartes have seen this, and they are furious with Guilliman, saying, how dare he? This could lead to Huron getting even more recruits, because these chapters could then join Huron again, which I personally think they wouldn't, but I can kind of understand why the Ordo Astartes is really mad. And the Ordo Astartes sent a message about this out there. Now, I thought they were sending it to other Inquisitors, but you chaps have made a connection that it maybe wasn't to other Inquisitors, it was actually to some of the chapters that fought on the side of the Imperium during the Badab War. Now, the full message is in my previous video if you want to go check it out, but I'm literally just going to put the end of the message in the background of the video right now. And this states, if this entity reaches you, wherever in the outer dark you may hunt, that is the main thing here, know that I've ensured termination failsafes to erase this message. Inquisitor Scalen, Ordo Astartes, and you've got all the the message, the Maelstrom, Contingency, Secundus, all that type of stuff. So the first thing first, right? This is the connection that you made. This is to the Space Sharks, aka the CARCHARDONS, because they are in the outer dark. That is where they hunt. They literally have a book, again, in the background called The Outer Dark, which I have not yet read. I really need to jump into the CARCHARDON series because I've heard it's absolutely fantastic. Now, again, why would this Inquisitor be contacting the CARCHARDONS? Well, the CARCHARDONS fought on the side of the Ordo Astartes, the Imperium, during the Badab War. They fought against the Executioners, the Mantis Warriors, the Lamenters, the Astral Claws. They were one of the chapters that remained loyal, that was sent there. Of course, there were other chapters. The Salamanders was one of them. We also have the Minotaurs, who, of course, work closely with the High Lords of Terror, and they're basically like the puppets for the High Lords, as I like to call them. They're the dogs. The High Lords say jump, and they say, how high, my lord? So, yes, you do have some chapters that have got this ferocious background, which the Ordo Astartes may be contacting. Again, in this message, I'm going to say it was just sent to the CARCHARDONS because of that outer dark reference, but maybe the Minotaurs are involved in this, and there was mention of a weapon. Maybe that weapon is those chapters actually watching over those new reinstated chapters now, just in case they go to Huron's side again. There's no one really better than the CARCHARDONS or maybe the Minotaurs to watch over these chapters because they're absolutely bloody brutal. But this then brings a question in, what now happens happens with future lore regarding these reinstated chapters. For example, the Mantis Warriors, they lost their homeworld to the Minotaurs. Once they went on the Pennant Crusade, the Minotaurs took over their homeworld. Do the Mantis Warriors now get that homeworld back? Is there going to be a bit of argy-bargy, a bit of a power struggle on who gets that homeworld? Because this is where they used to recruit their recruits from. What happens is Guilliman thought of this all the way through. One of the main things I want to talk about in this video is potentially what it could mean for a future narrative campaign book and potentially models. One of the big things that we all love about Space Marines is that every chapter is different. You have the Black Templars, the Blood Angels, the Dark Angels, the Space Wolves. Yes, they're all Space Marines, but they all have their own look, just like the CARCHARDONS. And the CARCHARDONS are one of the biggest fan favorite chapters. And I've been saying for a while now that they deserve some love in terms of character models, upgrades, just more attention given to them. Now, if you remember, the chapter master of the CARCHARDONS did at one time have an official Warhammer 40,000 model. Image in the background now, if you don't remember it. It was from Forge World. It's like one of the special characters that they used to do, and they don't do that anymore. It's more like they're into specialist games and all that type of stuff. But back then, he did have a model, and one of the things that I think potentially could happen is he gets a new model. One thing we've seen with Games Workshop in these past couple of years is that they've been redoing the Terminator scale, and Tiberius, the Red Wake, was in Terminator armor. So what if maybe he does get a new model redone in the brand new scale Terminator armor, just looking all glorious with his big power claws ripping, tearing things apart? I think this would be a model that would sell absolutely fantastically well. Of course, again, like as I mentioned, I like more characters, decals, all that type of stuff. It's such a rich chapter. And again, on top of that, that's not the only chapter. What about the Minotaurs? They could do the same for their chapter master, add little bits and stuff. I think this is what the community is again after. It's about these chapters that we grew up with the Badab series, the Imperial Armor books, that attached us so much to the lore back in the day, to get the recognition, to get the actual attention that they got in the past and receive it once again. This is what we want as Space Marine fans. Cool models, cool characters, just to paint and to bloody look at. As always, I would love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Do you think that message was sent to the CARCHARDONS? Do you think, like, other chapters like the Minotaurs, the Salamanders, other chapters that fought on the side of the Ordo Astartes and the Inquisition and the Imperium during the Badab War will also receive that message? Or is it just going to be a chosen few? I would love to get your feedback on it and see where we go from here. Whatever happens, I'm definitely looking forward now to the next Eye of Terror book, because there's always a spicy message at the back of these books. We know like the Eye of Terror is going to be revolving around, well, I say the Cadian Gate, let's say, or the ruins of Cadia. Apparently there's going to be knights involved in that. There's going to be, of course, Iron Warriors, Mechanicas stuff and everything like that. So yeah, but I'm going to do a separate video to that next week, because we're going to get more information about that via Monday. So stay tuned to that, and we'll really delve into where they go with that article. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to clear this up. Great spot. Great job, guys. I would never have made the connection without you chaps in the comment section. What do you think? CARCHARDONS? Are the space sharks coming? Fingers crossed. Hopefully so. See ya, and bye-bye.